Jenny. What's new in the silver market? Hey, Lisa, it's wild. Crypto's even crazier. I know, and politics is stirring the pot.
Hey, and we've got a friend today at the tea with Jenny and Lisa. We've got Bix Weir, the one and only king of Road to Ruta, joining us. Thanks for joining us, Bix.
Absolutely. Why haven't I seen that intro? I haven't sat down for tea with you before.
I've put it all over.
That killed me. That was hysterical.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
Jenny's
good day to have.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
do you guys have like a little silver teacup you use?
I do have. Well, I don't have a silver one, but I have like a mug today. But usually I have one of my like teacups, and I'm trying to find a certain one to give to Jenny to send to her. But a lot of our stuff is in a big container locked up. So anyway, fun stuff.
I want to send Lisa some cards too. Maybe not tarot cards, but like just some kind of cards so that we can all. Because sometimes I really want to be like, hey, Bix, pull a card. Lisa, pull a card. Like
we can be vibing together.
I think I have cards somewhere.
You should. You
really cool set.
Oh, that's a classic.
But, yeah, I got this at a thrift store actually. So
a thrifted tarot deck. That is gutsy. That is gutsy.
Well, I know. It's like what evil demonic person put bad juju into your tarot cards?
Maybe it's a wonderful person.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
There's good witches too.
Ever the optimist, Miss Lisa.
Man,
so do you guys want to talk about like World War III? Do you want to talk about?
No. I want to talk about what the hell. Why is Trump all of a sudden wanting to go to war everywhere? I mean, what is the real motivation? We know it's not what he says.
Right.
What's the real motivation of starting World War III?
Are they cleaning things up? To the Miss Hopium, always the positive spin. Because I just spent 2 hours with people that I love and respect, but they're all just. It's doom and gloom and Trump's fault and all that. And
yeah, we know there's a reason, but we don't know what it is.
Well, it's interesting if you stand back and just look at the facts of, and not the things that are being reported. We know we can't trust our media, right? But we all know what happened with COVID. We all know what happened with the 2020 election. And there's things that in natural law have to have consequences for that. And I wonder if this theater of attack is actually, we also know how corrupt a lot of the military was. If we think about the Washington generals, and they've been replaced. And now there's a missing Air Force bigwig, and I don't know. It just seems like it was so messy and so evil and so dark, and they are having to do things behind the scenes. But if they don't show everybody, it will be repeated. And I could see like them hitting these embassies and stuff. Well, in the, underwebs, they talk about those being used for things other than what an embassy should be used for. And typically with, moving little people around and those kind of horrible things. So is that why those things are being taken out?
I don't know. Let's ask Jenny, the soothsayer.
Yeah, Jenny, what do you think?
Well, the soothsayer. When people call me that online, I low-key receive, like in the beginning, I received that as a slur. But then I looked up the definition. I didn't know what it was.
It's like a fortune teller.
Yeah, it's like an old.
A truthsayer.
Old? Hey, what, you got a birthday coming up? Why are you worried about getting old?
We were going to talk about that at the end.
Oh man. Yeah. So, thanks for bringing that up, Bix.
You add a guy to a little tea chat. Look what's going to happen.
No, I know. See, this is what happens. We invite a boy into the treehouse.
Boys into the tea time, and it changes the whole thing up.
Yes. I did. So Lisa sent that link to the group chat last night. I think it was last night. And I was like, I just had my cards next to me. I said, let's see what's going on with this guy. So, get a look at his face, pull the cards. And if my memory serves me correctly, it was the Four of Pentacles. It was the Fool, which, as we know, is like subterranean. So the Fool descends, it takes a dive. And the Four of Pentacles is very classic detainment or containment. So whether he's physically detained or a gag order, like a silence and contain all that information. That's really what it was like to me. It wasn't clear to me if he was alive or dead, to be honest with you.
Because with you saying under, like, does that mean he's being detained underground or?
Well,
is he underground?
I'm not sure, but I do anticipate that, and we've talked about this for years, but I think that the subterranean reality and the surface population, we're going to merge. We're leaking together. It's all bleeding together. And so it's just a matter of time. Like the next thing really is going to be aliens. We've heard Clif talk about it for years, but I sincerely, genuinely think like within the next 18 to 24 months, they have to introduce some kind of ET narrative, whether it's true or not. They have to use that as a means of segueing into this next phase of the process, which is going to be about atmospheric control. Why haven't we heard about the Space Force? We talked about this last time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And how does that affect silver? I'll tell you. So
that's what everybody wants to know.
That's what everybody wants to know. I swear to God, at the pearly gates, it's gonna be like about silver. They're gonna be like, "So, did you have a good time?" Like, and I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, it was really something else." Silver.
I have a new silver thing.
Oh.
Do you? Vix has it.
It's so rare that I'd find something new in silver.
Oh my God!
I thought I knew everything.
Tell us. Yeah. What's the
tea? Give us the tea. Yes, give us the tea.
So the reality of if you guys know, a lot of you do, but I dug into the solar panel situation, how much silver is being used in solar. Silver Institute's telling us 200 million ounces a year. The actual number is probably closer to 400 to 500 million ounces. And I was like fighting that for years and showing people how they changed data on their report and things like that. And I just gave up because it didn't matter if I was right or wrong. They're going to continue to lie, cheat, and steal. And people will be asleep to silver. Well, people aren't asleep to silver anymore. They're starting to wake up. But I did find out something has happened in the last 2.5 years. Let's just say 2 years. That is the biggest demand for silver in human history. Much bigger than solar. And that's the AI data center build out.
Huge.
It's the AI data.
It is massive. Over 400 million ounces is the official number. It's 175 million in the U.S., 175 million in China, and then an unknown amount in the rest of the world. Some people say it's 450 to 500, but it is recorded nowhere in the. You don't hear anybody talking about it at the silver mining companies or the silver analysts. Once in a while, you'll see a report saying there's a lot.
Would that affect copper as well?
No.
In the same ways? No.
Silver cannot be substituted for copper in the AI systems. It's a heat thing.
Okay. I guess I wasn't thinking the AI. I was thinking the power plants that they're building next to all the data centers.
Yeah, but
I think have copper?
So in the solar industry, they're saying they're thrifting silver out of the solar panels, which they do have the technology to do. But the reality is, because silver's only like 20% of the cost of the equipment, they'd rather have the silver because the silver is better. And so I did a search on how many gigawatts last year was put in with the new kind of thrifted type of solar panels with no silver in them or very little silver in them. 1 gigawatt out of 700 gigawatts. So it's a tiny, tiny, tiny percentage. And yet the Silver Institute saying, oh, yeah, there's going to be no more silver in solar panels. Well, maybe in 5 or 10 years. And solar panels, and especially AI, price doesn't matter. With AI, price does not matter at all to these guys.
Because it's just about the data.
It's about what works to create AI. You have to have these massive data centers, and all of them have to use massive amounts of silver because silver is the only one that can take the heat. Copper can probably do the electricity part of it, but not as well. But it's the heat that really, really requires silver, and there is no substitute for that. So if we have, say, 450 million ounces last year, I heard in January AI data centers were up 75% again. So what will we do? A billion ounces of silver in AI data centers, and how we don't know.
We don't even
know where you can find it.
Yeah.
Like, where do you get it? So that's why we see all the warehouses around the world emptying out, and people saying, I mean, silver went from $50 to $120 in a half a blink of an eye, and then got slammed down. It's under control at like $80 or whatever it is now. There is no way that this will last much longer. I mean, we're talking months, maybe years. No.
Jenny, what are you seeing for it? Sorry, Bix, I didn't mean to.
No, I'm done.
Well, I don't really want to make a statement on that, but I do have a statement that I'd like to make.
Sure.
So, something about the atmospheric use, like, I know it sounds kind of weird, but try to imagine that silver could be utilized as some kind of aerosol, or translated as some kind of spray or vapor, or some kind of, when they can bring it down to a level where it can be dispersed across, like, so it's because I know we can put it in solar panels, you put it in phones, you put it in TVs, or you put it in RFID chips, you put it in everything because it's this powerful thing. I anticipate something pertaining to the atmosphere. And then also, this has come up for years for me, and it could still be years down the road. I don't know exactly how that stuff, works, how the timelines work. But they need it for uniforms. They need it for gear. They need it for equipment. They need it for, because when you enter a completely different theater of war, which we're moving from 6th and 7th generation warfare to something completely brand new and strange, there are, there's real utility in silver and gold and copper, where you need it to, basically combat other kinds of metals. So I don't know what anybody, whatever you'd like to do or not do with that information.
No, you're spot on. And they have just come out with an admission of this, is that they have been spraying aerosol,
vaporized,
silver iodized. So remember last year, Bix, when you helped Cannon with his science fair project, and he interviewed you for it. And one of the things that happened by accident in the science fair project was that we used iodine to check for bacteria in the milk. So he put silver coins in milk and then saw how long it kept it, antibacterial, whatever. But one of the side effects was that when the iodine hit the silver, it caused iodized silver. And so it causes these little like snowflakes almost, or clouds. Like you sometimes see them in those weather things that people have, where it like the cloud structure of the tube changes depending on how the weather is going to be recently. Anyway, Cannon's he's really into weather and has one of those too. So we did this research and looked it up and found out that it was creating that. And remember, around that same time last year, around this time, people were seeing all the floaty stuff in their pools, the white stuff in their pools. It was from the iodized silver having a reaction with the water. And but if you think about silver's very, very healing. I'm sorry, Jenny, what did you say?
Well, no, skullcap is just to your point. That's exactly what he's saying, is that they need it for the chemtrail programs as well, using it with the admixture since the 50s, he's saying. So, I mean, what sucks about it is, how they can use something like silver. I mean, what else is new? They use all of God's creations and bastardize them to.
But is this a good thing? Is this a healing after everybody went through COVID? Was this a white hat?
It could be,
to heal people with
theoretically. Theoretically, it's hard to say who, is going to win this. It really is, I don't know who's going to win.
Yeah, just like they're saying that supposedly the Anunnaki used gold. They consumed gold, right?
Well, that's from who's that famous guy?
Zachariah Sitchin.
Zachariah Sitchin said that. He's been proven to be controlled by the deep state. So who knows what is real and what is not?
Who knows?
Well, I knew that the Anunnaki narrative, like I started to question it when my mom was like, "Did you know that the Anunnaki?" I was like, "Oh, hold on a second.
Wow, that's a step for her.
Something has shifted, and I suddenly am not. That narrative suddenly has zero appeal to me." Wow.
If mom likes it, I'm not involved.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I mean, hey, it's all for education. Zachariah Sitchin has his place, and he definitely like made his mark out there uh, in that field.
Somebody said I cut my hair. I didn't.
No, it's
Let's
just
see.
tucked behind
Look
his
at
ear.
that. Look at those boyish locks.
I know. That mop.
Those boyish curls.
Look at that. It is impossible to control hair. I don't know how you ladies do it after all these years. I'm like, I can't sleep. Amy won't let me cut it.
Really? I mean,
I thought you were doing it because Jenny told you to grow it out because she told me not to cut my hair.
oh, yeah, no.
Until silver hits what?
Did
5,000?
we pick a dollar? I don't think we picked a dollar amount.
Yeah.
I need it 200. That's my.
You'll never see $200 silver if the comics is still open.
Well,
But
I'm okay with
the
it.
comics inventory is down under 80 million ounces now, and they're not long for this world. And they're all spoken for, all those ounces.
Will you discuss that, Bix, or educate us, me? So with the deliveries, like the delivery was supposed to happen in March, but they had to make their promise or their decision or whatever, how much they were going to actually deliver and how much they were going to kick forward in end of February. Is that correct?
Not really.
Okay.
So what happens is the comics is futures and options. So silver derivatives, fake silver is what trades every day in the millions and millions of ounces every day, 300 to 500 million ounces on average, trade back and forth. And that's how they set the price of silver. It has nothing to do with physical silver at all. And the whole world accepts that number because the bankers have told the world to accept that number. And, you know, they got all the media's in on it, and, you know, they just play the game. So now people have figured out, holy shit, we need massive amounts of silver for solar panels, for AI, massive amounts of silver for everything. Physical silver, the real thing. So the COMEX had, I think it was 200 million of registered silver. That's the silver that can be delivered. Not too long ago, I think it's maybe 6 months or 8 months ago. I don't remember. But that's steadily 2-3 million ounces being pulled out every single day. And now they're down to under 80 million ounces. At some point, we're going to see the manufacturers panic. And those people who've been pulling the silver out are going to say, holy crap, I still need silver to make my iPhones. I still need silver to make, set up my AI data centers. I need silver for XYZ reason. So you're not seeing, and all the manufacturers are actually, a lot of them are going to the actual mining company and saying, I want to buy your future production. I'll pay, higher than what you'll get for it anyway. And they're jumping on it, which I think is a big mistake for any mining company. I would divest in any mining company that sold forward positions to manufacturers, because silver isn't freely traded. You're selling your silver right now. Even if you sell it for $150, that's not the real price of silver. Silver has not been priced properly for 180 years. Mm-hmm. So to think, oh my God, I'm going to get $120 for my silver that I produce over the next 3 years. Barrick Gold tried to do that way back a long time ago with gold and ended up just destroying the entire company. If you sell forward production and all of a sudden the price goes crazy, most likely the costs are going to go crazy too. And then you just shit out of luck. And then all the investors, they don't invest in mining companies for like the little tiny, oh good, my company's up 10%. Mm-hmm. They want the home run. The people who are taking the risk to invest in mining companies want the home run. And the mining CEOs, for the most part, there's some good ones, are absolute jackasses when it comes to understanding manipulation of their product. Only probably Keith Neumeyer is the only guy who really knows what's going on, and he's been saying it for years that the Silver Institute, he pulled out of the Silver Institute. He was a funder of them with all the other mining companies. Like, you guys are lying, flat out lying to the people. So yeah, we got to like wade through the bullshit. Yeah. So as far as the deliveries, if you look at the deliveries on the COMEX, half of them are delivering, one bank delivering to another bank, delivering to another bank. They're just, it's kind of like the shell game where they pass it back and forth. They'll roll contracts, which Jeffrey Christian loves to talk about. So that's great when there's silver to be had. With everybody pulling silver out of the warehouses now, there's no silver to play the shell game. So you're going to end up with a bunch of shells, and you open up the shell and there's nothing there. Is what's going to happen with the COMEX and the LBMA, which is kind of ran out already, and a lot of the silver had to be shipped over there. But this is their own silver they're playing with in the game, and it's probably mostly SLV silver, which is 560 million ounces of silver that is in the COMEX and LBMA warehouses. They're required by law to keep them in those warehouses. So you can subtract out 560 million ounces out of the total number, and you're getting to very low amounts of silver all around the world with no end in the demand. I mean, tell me, when are they going to stop building the AI data centers today? No, it was up 76% in January. So it's like either you come up with a hell of a lot of silver from somewhere, and I think they've already chewed through the JP Morgan physical silver that they accumulated over the 8 years that they were rigging it. It was over 1 billion ounces. So I think that's almost gone, and we're at a point now where it's like, all right, demand is going up everywhere. There's no end to AI demand. There's no end to solar panel demand. There's no end to any of the demand, and there's no new silver mines coming on. It's going to take 5 to 10 years to build new silver mines to get, if you can find the metal. That's the other thing. You can't find the metal at these prices. You probably at $1,000 silver, you can find a lot more metal, but it'll still take 5 to 10 years to get the metal into a condition where we can use it.
Yeah, I wondered what the tipping point was for the mining when it was worth it to them to open the new mines. But then, like you said, it takes another 5 to 10 years before production.
And mining companies are notorious for getting screwed by overproducing when the price goes up. Building out the facility, and then the bankers would crash the price and destroy the mining company, and then they'd buy up the mining company, buy up the pieces and parts. So they're very tentative to do any mass expansion and borrow money to build out these mines. So nobody's doing it right now. There's nothing, literally, there's nowhere to get this silver that keeps getting eaten. And that's why we want to be in silver. That's the main reason. Supply and demand are broken. Pricing is broken because of the COMEX. Supply and demand is broken because silver's been too cheap for too long. We should have never put silver in solar panels. In AI, well, they have no choice. And those guys have trillions of dollars to spend. They don't care if the price of silver is $100 or $1,000 or even $10,000. They have to have that silver to meet the specifications of their AI buildouts.
Interesting.
There you go. That's my silver speech.
That's your silver take. That's your silver. Well, I wanted to share this and get you guys feedback on Clif's silver chart, is how I titled it. I didn't realize you'd be able to see my little title on there. But if his dates aren't always accurate, but he's pretty specific on this for this year through January. And then it's my understanding, and I may be incorrect. Up here, he says you won't like living in a 600 silver world, but it doesn't ever get to 600. It's like 330 or something.
That's not the silver price, is it?
Reading? Oh, is that not the silver price?
No, that's reading.
The index something. I can't read
index
it right
level. Synthetic market proxy correlated to emotional tension. That's his emotional tension stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not the silver price.
Oh, I thought this was because it says danger points in institutional money, and all this. So I thought that this was related directly to silver price.
You even called it Clif's silver chart.
I did. Yeah, I literally thought that's what it is. Because we are about here, just past the Epstein. And I wondered if the Congress was them, voting to protect their sexual deviance in the Congress, and voting down that exposure of the fund. But didn't seem to bother too many people, I guess. So maybe we still have something to come with Congress. I don't know.
Well, we're not done with the month yet, right?
Well, that's true.
Yeah, anything can happen. Congress, I don't see people paying taxes this year. I think enough fraud is being uncovered for people to say, holy frick.
Yeah.
They should have just stopped paying taxes when Elon said he found the 14 computers that were just printing money out of thin air.
Yeah.
Now we find out billions and billions and billions of dollars going into Minnesota to the Somali refugees. They're running around in fancy cars and multi-million-dollar bank accounts. Elon Omar, or whatever her name is, she's got $30 million in the bank from being a congressperson. That's just what her husband did, or her brother, or whoever she married.
Yeah. Blatant. Yeah.
She married a different guy after she got her brother. And I mean, the whole thing is just crazy. Why are we paying taxes so they can give them to Somali refugees so they can buy Lamborghinis and shit like that? This is insane.
It is. But will the people...
It's just a super shitty investment. Imagine all that money and you buy a Lamborghini. I don't know. To me, it's just a way, like, what? You could do so much with that.
But that's not the way, a lot of people think, is like, there's a reason they didn't have money in the beginning.
Right. It's just stupid. Just dumb.
I'm going to blow it on Cristal and the, strip clubs.
Yeah. I mean, okay. It's really a dumb mentality. Nick Shirley, the guy who exposed the Leering centers, he took a trip to California and he was doing some of that stuff there. But it was either California, somewhere it was like a Jewish population, like a Hasidic population, and that
that's like New York.
It caught very little traction compared to the Somali situation, and I think that's because they were able to tamp it down in the media. They were like, shh, like we don't look over here.
You're not allowed to speak about anything bad about the Jewish population.
Right.
It's not allowed.
And they're not even,
Anyway. He was uncovering that they were like all on welfare.
Yeah.
And
kind of get paid to have kids.
Yeah. And using the, and that's like a Trump thing, I guess. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Our laws, our rules are so screwed up. The fact that we give handouts the way that we do encourages. I mean, they have a saying about don't feed the bears for a reason. And then we wonder why our country's being invaded and our culture's being taken over. Mom Donnie did a Ramadan celebration at City Hall, I heard yesterday or today or something ridiculous. I mean, just...
That guy's a nut. What a total nut.
Yeah. Losing our culture, for sure.
I have a question for Ginny.
Oh, good.
What are the odds that Gavin Newsom is the Democratic nomination for president? I don't think we'll get to that far. What's that, 2020? When's it?
28? Yeah. I mean, this has to go down this year. We have to be done with this before the midterms.
What do you mean done with what?
Well, we'll hear what Jenny says. I don't want to.
I love challenging you. All right, Jenny.
I know. I love fighting with you too.
This has to be done. I love that.
It does.
President election is going to be Gavin Newsom. 2 of Pentacles, 7 of Wands, 8 of Pentacles, Ace of Wands, Hanged Man. So ultimately, I'm going to say no because the outcome is the Hanged Man, which is some kind of suspension.
I don't think there will be another presidential election.
That could be the suspension of the government. Some people are saying that this shutdown is more than what it's being told to us.
Well, certainly.
It's more shutdown than
what shutdown?
There's a government shutdown.
On Department of Homeland Security shutdown.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like a partial shutdown, right? It's just one division they don't want to fund.
Allegedly.
So, yeah, well, Lisa, back to your original comment. You want this to be done by election time.
I said this has to be because there's no trust.
What are we talking
The American people do not trust the voting system. We know it's corrupt. We know the machines are corrupt. We know there's proof out of
what is
everywhere.
done? We know all that. What do you said it
The
has to be done?
movie has to be done. It has to have
Everything?
a revealing. Yes, everything.
Okay.
No,
Wow.
there'll always be darkness
That
if there's light. There'll always be.
I agree with you. Don't get me wrong. I agree with you that everything must be revealed for us to move forward. But
Yeah,
that
or
means
people will stop
there's no
paying
check
attention.
account. There's no voting. Why do you think there's voting if everything's done? There's no voting. There's no money. There's no getting gas. If everything's done, we got to fix the
Barter.
whole thing. We have to start a new system.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they've been preparing for. But to say that everything's done means everything shuts down, and there won't be any voting for congressmen.
I don't
There
know
will
that
be
it
Congress.
shuts down totally. Not everything, but I think it is the push
What wouldn't shut down though?
over the bridge to transitions. Human interaction would not shut down.
True. Well, actually, internet won't be up and running.
That's okay. I know where you live.
Airplanes won't be flying.
I'm not flying on an
When
airplane.
you're talking about when we get it done, that's, I mean, to me, that's what it is. It's basically the heart of it is monetary. The heart of what, makes people get up and go to work is because they have to make a living and pay their bills. Unless you live in Minnesota or California and you Somali. But the reality of what we were living in versus what we're headed into, I mean, most people pay most of their money that they make to the government for some reason. Everything is taxed, not only your paycheck, but the house that you live in, and the you go to the store. They take money out of your purchases to give to the government in forms of sales tax, gas tax, air tax. Look at your power bill every month and say, oh my God, all these taxes are just, once the tax is in, it never goes away. It's there forever. We are taxed. I mean, I did a calculation and I came up with 75% of what I make is taxed away.
Jeez.
75%. Because I'm in like a high tax bracket.
Wow.
And I'm like, holy crap. After all is said and done, I get 25% of what I make. And then I feed the beast. I feed the machine that abuses the people, abuses myself, gives my money to Somali refugees to buy Lamborghinis.
Yeah.
When do we stand up individually? Yeah, a lot of people are standing up. But as a collective, I mean, why didn't Elon just tell the people what he really found? He found that hundreds of trillions, even quadrillions of dollars were expended by these computers.
Well, and
to entities that nobody knows who they are.
Yeah.
And Stacey Abrams, one more thing. Mm-hmm. Stacey Abrams, the Georgia, whatever she was, right? Mayor, or governor, whatever she was, ended up with her company ended up with $2 billion. How is that even possible? And where did that $2 billion come from?
Right.
It came from these computers that created money from thin air. And then, how much did the Bidens print for themselves? How many billions, if not trillions? It's infinity money. We're at infinity money point. So, yeah, I mean, I agree that everything needs to end to move forward, but that end is exactly what Clif is saying, is you won't want to live in that world, at least when it transitions, so to speak.
Well, until we take back our power, because we created the prison. Well, we didn't create, but we walked into the prison that they created for us. We put our energy into.
We were fooled, mind you.
Yes, we were fooled. We were tricked, but we put it in the black box of Saturn. That's the 4D that the people with tiny hats that pray to that 4D, that we start valuing ourselves and our energy
with tiny hats
in time. Yes. Try not to get this kicked off.
Are you talking about like a yarmulke?
Maybe.
Oh.
Those are little.
Or just really small hats.
Yes.
People with big hair.
You have big hair and big hats. You don't qualify. But we got tricked into valuing our energy. And if we could revalue, and you talk about revaluation of silver, because that would be the true value or dollar amount.
I've never said revaluation because that gets misused. No, there's no such thing as a revaluation. Revaluation is a human being saying this is going to be worth X amount of money.
Okay,
Or
and you
we're
say
gonna
there's no
reevaluate.
deciders, so no revaluing.
Yeah,
So
I
can
mean,
there be, what's the language there then, the transition of valuing our energy, not based in time, and storing it then in those Fed dollars that every time you go to sleep, they print more, so yours is worth less. We have to value our time, or not our time, our energy, and store it in a different way. The storing it is where we get imprisoned, right?
I think we're imprisoned in all of it. But if you're trying to link energy to money and value, the money's got to change. And do we need money even? In Elon's world, where everybody has a robot, we really don't need money. We've got a robot to do the same work for us better than we did for ourselves. And he said that's like 4 to 5 years out. So will anybody need money? And then what would people do? I mean, we're headed into the abyss, literally.
Yeah.
And that might be why Trump's, going down the war path. Is anything in the future is going to be chaotic. And then we have entities that can destroy the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, we probably will be destroyed. It is not a great way to think.
It might be the way we ascend to the 5D, though.
Well, yeah, but this is our time on this planet to experience some amazing things, which is great, and which is what we were doing. But when it ends, we don't end.
No.
As soul creatures, no, we say, damn it, there's more I wanted to do. That's what we're gonna be saying. There is more I wanted to do down there than what I was given the shot to. So that's the sad thing about destroying the planet or destroying the population or a majority of the population, is there's more that the souls wanted to learn and experience for the greater good of everything. And that's why we're here, which is what I believe we're here to do, is to experience the new. Yeah, if we can get out of this without blowing each other up, that would be amazing stuff. That's when you're talking about holy crap.
But it wouldn't necessarily be such a bad thing if there is no one left behind, because the sadness when there's death is the people that are left alive. They're the sad ones.
That's true.
So if we're all gone,
we're all partying up in heaven.
Yeah.
Or wherever it is in spiritual
wherever
realm. But
it
it would
is.
suck.
Yeah.
No, it would suck. And that's why we feel such the feelings that we do about death, is that these people are no longer part of our experience, and they don't get their experiences anymore. I mean, that's the saddest thing, I believe. So yeah, when we all die, we'll all be sad. Damn, I wanted to do more, so let's try it again. Start fresh. And I believe in,
then I don't think the humanity would allow that, or the collective consciousness would allow our destruction if we still have more to learn, because this is the playground that we're learning. This is the school we're in. And until our lessons and we certainly need a few more lessons.
Well, like what I think is, so if you guys haven't already, go ahead and pop over to a YouTube channel called Predictive History, and it's created by Professor Zhang. He's not, so he's a little bit unconventional. He's not anything that like we're all used to, because he is a foreigner, but he has a really, really great perspective on things. So go ahead and check out that YouTube channel. But so a lot of his research and his lectures coincide with some things that I've, understandings I've come to myself over the years, is that so this is World War III. This is like what they're going to try to propose as World War III, right? And then, so the whole issue with nuclear weapons, whether they exist or not exist, or whether that's like they're actually potentially, this existential threat or not, this is like the part of the process where we have that kind of existential, near death experience, And that's why I think that they introduced the concept of ETs in a very like public, very controlled narrative sort of fashion. Because if you look back historically, they're the only sort of, so they let us like drop the bomb a couple times, right? But I think so the nature of those types of weapons seem to affect the molecular structure of all frequencies, all dimensions. So it's like we're allowed to hurt each other, we're allowed to hurt ourselves. But I guess because, the reality of this realm, what it is, who made it, who's responsible for it, all of that stuff is put on the line when we're dealing with an existential threat such as like, nuclear wars. But I'm not here to tell you whether or not they exist, don't exist. I don't care, right? I have no dogs in the fight. I just think that this is like this is their opportunity to transition us from this sort of terrestrial civilization to a multi-planetary narrative. That's where we're going to see Elon's. We're going to see, the whole there are entire campaigns that were designed specifically to control this narrative and steer this narrative in that direction. So I mean, we'll see. I've exercised a lot of like detachment with all of this, and I think as a result of being so attached to a particular outcome, being emotionally polarized by, this issue or that, I've learned to just observe and separate myself. And kind of like Bix, like my understanding about death has changed over the years too. We have physical bodies that the soul inhabits for a time, and when the physical body dies or expires, the soul continues that that path, and it's so transcendental of the materium. So I've tried to let go of a lot of, the emotional polarization that comes with, them dangling the fear of death over us, because that is ultimately how they keep people in control, is fear of death. Not only fear of death, but fear of suffering after death, which, that's not that's a choice. That's the soul gets to do that. Nobody else can tell a soul that you have to suffer. Like, that's not a thing. But anyways, so yeah, I think the next 18 to 24 months is going to be a lot about atmospheric defenses. A lot of the Space Force is going to come into play. Frequency barriers, interplanetary border security. It's all AI. It's going to be a time. It's going to get really, really weird. So hold on to your shit.
So the alien introduction, are you saying it could be like an introduction to dimensions, or the idea of that dimensions are real? Because, like, I don't know if you watch Ashton Forbes, but he talks about the plasma balls. This was the conversation I was trying to have with when we were in Canada. And he shut me down and said no.
It happens.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. But but that could be an introduction to, well, how do these aliens get here? Portals. And we know that, like with the Philadelphia experiment, that the military is already doing this kind of stuff. They know about it. There's the missing Malaysian flight that had the orbs around it that people say have many different stories and ideas around that. But if we understood that if the aliens coming through dimensions, through portals, that was explained to us in a way that we could understand and that we believed, then would we then be able to travel through those portals and ascend
to where?
Move back and forth
to wherever they go,
dimension, whatever that the next dimension,
or different. Why not the same dimension, different planet?
Yeah,
I think the portals are more planet oriented.
Okay.
Like if you go to Machu Picchu and all that, you'll see like portal type things. Why'd they build this big doorway with no?
Even Stonehenge and
they're finding. I mean, they're digging deep now everywhere in the world and finding. We're just seeing the tops of these things that are the megaliths and there's citadels below the pyramids and all. We're just finding all this stuff out, which, I mean, in our ridiculousness of our education system, we're told that they used I didn't even know what they used to build the pyramids. They don't really ever say how they did it. They, oh yeah, they dug a big ramp and they would, you know, rub the rock until it got real smooth and cut it with wood. And then you see some of these rocks are literally the laser cut is only halfway through, and you can see it was either some ultra saw that we don't even have today, or it was done with laser. And you can see, like, I was looking at in the Cairo Museum, I was watching a video with this guy. He goes, look at this box. It's a rose granite box. It's really hard stone. And you look at the back and it's not finished. And you can see a laser cut halfway through. And he's like, they didn't have lasers back, 5,000 years ago. They didn't have saws. They didn't have metal. How did they do this? They didn't. I mean, it's like everything. And we have like serious archaeological professors and the smartest people in archaeology who are just completely brainwashed to say what they learned in school about where this stuff came from. I mean, I've been to Machu Picchu. I did the 3-day hike up the Inca Trail. Wow. And no, that was not created by humans. Not at all. Not a chance in hell.
Well, like, okay. When you were talking about like planets, because I see people are talking about like planets and stuff, like, so do you know how information changes a paradigm? So like, you know something today that you didn't know yesterday, and suddenly you see it everywhere. Or like, I say yellow car. Now you're going to find a yellow car. You're going to see a yellow car. Is it that it suddenly appeared? Or did your paradigm shift because you are thinking about it? It's in your thoughts. Someone told you about it. So that's how planets work. And so the campaign to remove our true history from our collective memory is done so because the reality that we collectively experience is generated by our beliefs. So if we knew the things that they know, we literally would ascend. The planet would change because our perception would be so radically altered. Like, information changes paradigms to such an extent that you literally wake up one day and you see everything completely fucking different. Like when my son had his accident and he survived it, that changed my paradigm. I wake up, I'm a different person. I see the world differently. Planets are the same. So if everybody knew what the elites knew, and the sad thing is that with the knowledge that they have of things, they could transform the quality of life of every man, woman, and child on the face of the earth for eternity. We'd never have to suffer. But they do this because it's their nature. This is the nature of darkness on planet Earth. This is the human saga, unfortunately, is this fall, this sense of being separated from it. But planets are states of mind. So there's a band fronted by Jared Leto. You guys might know, it's called 30 Seconds to Mars. So I'm going to tell you, that's how long it takes to get to Mars, is 30 seconds, because it is a state of being. It's a state of matter. So, the rocket ships, the rocket launches, all that shit, these are basically just super expensive fronts for a technology that already is operational and functional within the human Stargate. You do need devices. You do need certain conditions. You can't just... I mean, maybe there was a time there were mages, I'm sure, in our history that we don't remember, that were able to, take themselves.
It's the remembering. There was a Super Bowl commercial, not this year, but last year. Jennifer Aniston didn't recognize Ross. And
oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
It was AI.
And there was several, I'm sure it was AI, because I think she's been gone for a long time. But there were several messages, and I can't remember if there was a Q post, but about the remembering, and will humanity, is that what that will be? Maybe that's when it's over, Bix, is when we have the remembering of who we are, what we are, the collective consciousness, the part of God, all of that. When we remember, there's a really cool video on Sean Ryan, this kid. He's like 22 years old and builds guns and drones and crazy stuff. He's super brilliant, MIT kid. And at the very beginning of the video, he says, if you're to try to explain it, he doesn't believe in God, which is interesting to me because what he's explaining to me sounds like God. But he said if you needed people to know totally who they were, pretend they're a square because they're like on a 2D plane. Well, if he had to come from heaven and he's actually a cube, but to come to Earth, he had to exist in the 2D plane. So he had to unfold himself. And when you unfold a cube, it turns into a cross, actually. Mm-hmm. And that was because if he had just presented as 2D, then it would be the same as people in this experience. But if you're shown that you think you're 2D, but you're really 5D, and the whole cube is unfolded, then we can become a mirror and we can unfold ourselves. And that's how you change the dimension. It was really interesting.
It sounds like
someone get me a drink.
This is when I wear Jenny out. We're traveling to
Okay. No, I love this.
I love it. I do think, when you talk about that type of stuff, I think it's a good way to explain it. But I also think that we chose to forget everything. To experience what we experience, we have to forget everything. You can't come. Well, some people, have this gift. I think Jenny has a gift that she brought with her. It's not cheating, though. It's not cheating bringing your gifts as a spiritual person down to earth. But what it does, I think, for a normal Joe Schmo, if I was going to do this again, and I know what I know in the spiritual world, you know everything. But you can't really, if you know everything, you can't really experience everything down here because you'd already know it didn't matter if you lived or died. You'd already know all this is crazy and really doesn't make. It's going to Gandhi saying, it's everything you do in life is absolutely not important at all. Nothing matters, but it's important that you do it. And I was like, okay, we're down here, blank slate to experience everything. If we came full slated with full spiritual knowledge of everything, we wouldn't experience anything at all. We would know love. We would know hate. We would understand everything. You wouldn't experience anything. There's nothing new created. And that's the beauty of experiencing a life on planet Earth as a human these days is you chose to forget in order to experience. So basically, as a whole, if we're all one, which I believe we are, and we have these little experiences that are new, that's the exciting thing.
That's how we become more together, right? Well, just like a really good cryptocurrency, I know. Little thing called Litecoin. You like your hat?
Yeah, there it is. I wore my hat just for you.
Yeah, because the community, if we're all putting our energy, I guess that goes back to money for me, and why we don't need it, like you said, because we are the energy, we are the creators, and if we put that into or exchange with each other in another way where the community becomes more together, our collective consciousness comes together, then everyone rises together. Then we all get to go to 5D.
There you go.
I heard someone mention the ice wall and what's behind the ice wall. And I just want to say, I consistently have dreams of moving through rock and ice and all these things. I know that sounds weird. Jenny, rock and ice would crush you. So it's not my physical body moving through these things. It's my astral body or my spirit body. And there does appear to be a lot more surface area, like a lot more land than we think. So I know that won't surprise anybody that the maps that we currently have also been altered. But, so even when we talk about going to distant, other planets and Mars and Venus and all these things, I really do think that the night sky is more of a reflective, it's a mirror. So it is mirroring things that are happening here and beneath, but there are these places that, we're not allowed to see. But I do believe that there was a time when all of this was a lot more common knowledge, and we see it in mythology, we see it in folklore, we see it, in all of these. Our ancestors were very intelligent. They were very smart. They had very powerful psychic abilities because they weren't, desensitized. Their antenna were not burnt out by constant EMF and black screens and this and that. So they were able to literally detect things that it's more difficult for people to detect those things now because of desensitization. But that's why I am tempted to be very black pill. I'm tempted to be like, that's it. That's a wrap. It's the end of the world. We lost. But I don't. I maintain hope. I still have hope because well, first of all, I know that it exists. Like all of that stuff exists because I have friends like you guys. So how could I be hopeless and how could I be dark and negative when God sent me people that are that good? That's why I constantly have hope. I'm like, it ain't that bad. It can't be, it can't be all doom and gloom. I don't believe that. So I think that there are enough people on planet Earth that are powerful and good and capable to do heroic and life-changing or world-changing things with the information that they receive in the coming months and years. So that's what my hope is, in the people. My hope is in the people of Earth and not in our leadership, not in our politicians. There's a lot of people and people are powerful. So that's why I can't let myself slip into the black pill and stuff.
I agree 100%. And that's the road to root of theory is all about the good guys behind the scenes. And it came out in the comic book. It came out in look at the $100 bill, the new $100 bill. What does it say right above the gold 100 on the right side? You have the right and the requirement that you overthrow your government if they get out of hand. It says that right on the $100 bill. And there couldn't be more symbolic stuff on any of our bills. There's always symbolism on the bill. The only bill that has not been changed, if you guys know, is the $1 bill. And if you flip over the $1 bill, you're going to see a pyramid with bushes around the bottom, and the all-seeing eye. So you start to think, well, why does the United States of America, where supposedly we don't have any pyramids, have a pyramid on the back and the eye of providence and all that stuff? And then you go into the Grand Canyon and you say, holy shit, these are all old pyramids. And we did the remote viewing with Dick Allgaier and friends about this old miner, the blind miner guy. I forgot his Seth Tanner. And we wanted to know what he went into Kincaid's cave and saw what was in there and what was in there that blinded him. And it was an all-seeing eye. But it wasn't a bad thing. It was a beautiful thing. And his mind, the way the remote viewers described it, there was something wrong with his mind. So when the information, and it's like he saw the all-seeing eye and massive amounts of information was downloaded and it tweaked his eyesight. And he was never able to see again. And what he saw beforehand was it was a couple. It's kind of like going into a pyramid in Egypt and seeing these beautiful painted walls and stuff. This was etched in even more beautiful than that. Dick Allgaier described it as like a real life Sistine Chapel type of beauty. This is in the Grand Canyon, mind you, everybody. But the guy goes in there and he sees a couple that are intertwined in love. And it was just the most romantic, beautiful thing. And above them was an all-seeing eye. And that's what literally shined. And his mind couldn't take it. His eye, something was wrong with his eyes that he could no longer see. It snapped something in him. So
interesting.
Believe what you want to believe.
That sounds like the Lover's card. Which is a sign of Gemini. It's also number 6, and it has to do with the alchemical marriage of the sun and the moon, of silver and of gold, of masculine and of feminine. So I think that's actually really interesting. He might have been, that might have been there as a kind of a massive symbolic representation of this alchemical union, which that'll blow some chakras open. That's
yeah. And the Hopi Indian that lived there said that's where they came from. Is the ant people took them below the earth or into the earth, and protected them from a cataclysm, and they came out later, and it all comes around to gold and the Grand Canyon and Kincaid's cave and why you're not allowed to go in any caves in the Grand Canyon. You are not allowed to explore at all in the Grand Canyon. You will be black helicoptered, black bagged, whatever you want to call it.
I want them to come get me. Like I want that because I'd like to have a word.
Well, Jenny, you like the Marines that are stationed there.
Yeah, that's why I was gonna say she has
Come
an
get me,
ulterior
boys.
motive.
Come
The
get
Grand
me.
Canyon,
She'll say, "Oh no, don't throw me in that brow patch." Yeah.
Don't tie me out, please.
Jenny, you
Don't
told us
tie
that
me up.
Jenny saw herself in this flowing gown standing over the Grand Canyon at some point in her life.
It was okay. So I'll tell you what it was because I often have it. We're on some kind of like top with a flat top, but it's high up.
Like a
And there's me and like some kind of like security detail. And what I'm wearing, it's so weird. It's like this collar, but within the collar, it's like very like very avant-garde. Like I would never wear something like that. But it had floating metallic gemstones. It was like gemstones and metallic, but they were running. It was giving me information about what I was seeing. So because we're up top and we're looking down, there's a bunch of cars that came out of nowhere, and we're like trying to get information. So these things around my collar are basically just relaying information for me from what I'm looking at it at a distance. So, and again, you guys, like these are just, images, visuals. I get a lot of it's symbolic, some of it's literal. But I just really have to say, like, when it comes to the technology suppression, I think that that's a door that they're going to have the most difficult time keeping shut. Because of what we're seeing in the, like, specifically the war between the pharmaceutical companies and like real medicine, like real healing, real medicine. The cancer industry is truly almost on its, like, they had to do this to push cancer because it was getting, you know what I mean? Like obviously some turbo cancers and whatnot, but it's catching on that cancer is a completely preventable, well, not in all cases, obviously, right?
But it's a parasite.
But that it's right, and that some of the the systems that grow cancer inside the cells are linked to some of the same processes that feed and keep parasites strong and alive inside the body, which is why things like ivermectin, fenbendazole, these things work for cancer. So, and I'm just saying, like, when people can reclaim and sort of usurp power over the physical body, and dispel some of the fear about these preventable and treatable things that keep people in fear state and poison and all this stuff, that's when I really think we see the process of ascension, or whatever you'd like to call it, really start to pick up in velocity, because we are the stargates. That's why they try so hard to form narratives and keep us stuck in a belief system, because everything that we see is a mirror. And it's like the cube folds out and it becomes a cross. What is the cross? The cross is the energetic system. It's the mechanism. It's the mechanism of your human body. We are literally systems that were designed to house the spirit of the divine within it. So when people realize that, like, there's no reason for people to be hungry or dying of cancer or living the way that they're living. There's enough water, there's enough food, there's enough land for everybody. So, like, that's like my real World War III thing, is like, are we going to continue on this trajectory, which is completely unsustainable, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that the way we're going is sustainable at all. AI data centers, what they're doing in the water, what they're doing to the food, the air, this is completely unsustainable. I give us maybe 500 years of this shit before there's literally nothing left. Nothing left. If they keep going like this. I mean, what do I know? I'm not a scientist, right? I'm just a
Well, but energy can't be created or destroyed. Everything that is created or used up is recycled, even if it's ourselves. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
we're sacks of meat. Sacks of meat with a really strong antenna, which is our brain, up to the soul world. And some people have a stronger antenna than others, and it's like a muscle. You can exercise it. You can be in contact. You can be just as good a card reader as Jenny if you work as hard as she did. I mean, Jenny is not like she pulled this stuff out of her ass. There was some stuff that she was inherently given, but she worked hell of hard to be a reader and an intuitive.
Thank you,
And
Lex.
like she's not that old. But she's
She's going to be a
wise as-
little older this Friday, right? Is it Friday?
It's getting there. Do you guys know we were together for my birthday last year? And I'm
Yes.
just so sad. Like, because like last year freaking rocked. It was 36. We were all in a foreign country partying. You know, what an amazing time. I'm just so grateful for, you know, the things that we've gotten to do together. And hopefully we all get the gang back together someday soon.
That'll be fun. Maybe in the Grand
soon.
Canyon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
That'd be so
We'd have
fun.
to get Jenny your little neck thing.
Oh yeah, we got to
Whatever
build
that
a
is.
collar or something,
Yeah.
and then
We'll have
next
one for
month-
everyone. Yeah.
Well, a lot of the Grand Canyon is shut down now, for remodeling.
They reopened the is it the north end? They reopened some of it recently.
Some of it, yeah,
I'm
but
sure I
not
saw-
the El Tovar is still closed.
Okay.
What do you think? What are they doing? Why'd they close it?
I want to know why they opened.
Princess of Discs, they're looking for something.
They're looking-
Well, they should have come to us because we know where the gold is in the Grand Canyon is. We know.
Don't say that. No, we don't. We don't
It's-
know where
but that's the
anything
thing.
is.
That's the thing is, yeah, a lot of people don't have no idea, but there are people who know.
Right.
Obviously, Kincaid's Cave was from that reading. Also, we got that everything was removed. Unfortunately, they literally took everything off the walls and brought it to the Smithsonian. Everything disappears at the Smithsonian.
For
But
destruction. Yeah, the Smithsonian's evil.
Whatever. They probably are using it, kind of like what is that movie with the portal that they find in the desert and bring it to the laboratory, the military base.
Oh,
Kirk Douglas is in it, not Kirk Douglas.
I know
Somebody
what you're talking about, but I don't know the name of the movie.
Yeah, come on, everybody in the
in the chat.
chat
Do you know that movie? Stargate.
Stargate.
Stargate. Thank you, John Winger.
And so they find this thing in the sand in Egypt, and they bring it to a U.S. military base to try to get it to work. That's the picture that was painted by Dick Allgaier and Rock Archie, who saw the same thing. That it, and the cave, the mouth of the cave, everybody out there looking for Kincaid's Cave has been sealed up. So and completely looks like the side of the Grand Canyon, like everything else.
Wow.
So you won't find it, but there are other ways into that cave. And Dick Allgaier saw 2 football fields worth of a warehouse with golden statues and trinkets and bars. And Rock Archie saw even alien craft, like a spacecraft that are stored in there for the future. And that's the thing is Dick said the U.S. isn't in the one that I'm talking about, isn't in the big one. They're all over the place on the Grand Canyon. There's military bases on the Grand Canyon. I know someone who's been there. They pull out all kinds of Egyptian stuff out of the Grand Canyon. There's a lot in the Grand Canyon, and you even look at it, and it looks like the quote mountains that are within the Grand Canyon on the floor of the Grand Canyon. They look like pyramids that were destroyed, and they're named after Egyptian pyramids. The Tower of Ra is a mountain in the middle of the Grand Canyon, and that's what we did the remote viewing on. So it's like it's hiding in plain view. Nobody's allowed to go there though. You're not allowed to explore there. You can go on the trails, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know what would happen? Do you know what would happen? Is these structures, this infrastructure is so symbiotic with who and what we are that being in the very presence of it brings back online, activates, I think, certain codes in our genome that, you know, this is where you talk about people going in the woods, or they have spiritual experiences, or they have an ayahuasca trip. It's very eye-opening stuff. It's really, you know, it changes you as a person. So imagine, you know, people were making trips and, you know, they're in the vicinity of this technology. Next thing you know, people are experiencing a huge uptick in telepathy, in group think. This group is communicating with that. And Bix's hair, I mean, he was born to be a telepath.
You want to
Look at
know
all
when that's
these-
going to happen?
Yep.
Your birthday?
On my birthday. The
There we go.
250-year anniversary. I can see Trump standing there at the penthouse. The El Tovar Hotel has a penthouse room that has a deck overlooking the most amazing view ever. I've never stayed in it, but it's always booked. I can see Trump and America on the 250th birthday looking out over that and saying,
Are you talking about in South Dakota?
no, Grand Canyon.
Oh, you think you'll be at the Grand Canyon for your
I
birthday?
think he'll be at the Grand Canyon.
Because
If
they
he's not
just
there, we're going to be there.
they just reopened or are allowing fireworks at Mount Rushmore again starting this year. It had been
I think if we're looking for a time, would be a good time for the good guys to say, voila, we're here. There was no Biden administration. We had military rule, and then Trump came in again. So don't worry. Everything has been a lie. We've been for 15 years trying to clean this shit up. Or I'd say more like 100 years trying to clean this shit up. What a place to celebrate than the 4th of July in the Grand Canyon. By the way, billions of ounces of gold for our new monetary.
Yeah, we're so
system.
wealthy.
Here's what really happened to it. Here's how the Grand Canyon was created. It wasn't that wandering river carved these pyramids in the Grand Canyon. It was something else.
I love it. Wasn't it lightning?
It was an electronic exchange between Mars, the sun, and the Earth. Because Mars had the exact duplicate of the Grand Canyon on a larger scale. And it came from the sun. And the sun is so much bigger than people recognize. I mean, the sun
And it's
is
having all these solar flares right now.
Yeah. And one can take us out.
Consuming resonance and lightning.
But it is like, it is part of it's not random. If something gets shot at the Earth from the sun, it's not random. It's part of the experience. The sun is no different than us. No different than a cell phone or a flat screen TV. It's pieces of matter of the all being everything. It's energetic. And
it's mostly nothing because most atoms are more nothing than they are matter.
Well, gold is created in the sun, and then every once in a while it'll burp out. That's how gold got on the planet. Every once in a while the sun will burp out some gold will be accumulated from the scientific part of how matter is created. It's created in stars, in the middle of stars. The sun is a star, so it does create matter. It kicks out all kinds of stuff. They've seen it burp out. And Clif was telling me about a military study that they saw him burp out this massive stream of gold because it all kind of accumulates together as it's made and holds together. That's why gold on the planet, you'll find it in mother lodes, is what they call the big chunk of gold. And then downstream over the thousands of years, little bits break off in storms and things like that. And you get placer gold, which is little specks of gold in the sand all up and down the Grand Canyon. So if we can find the mother lode, which is the big chunk of gold that the sun burped out that hit the Earth, that's where we find, that's why all the gold is down in like South Africa. And a lot of gold was found in California. These are points where big clumps of gold hit the Earth that the sun made and spit out. So different. I think there's so much gold in the Grand Canyon that it would have destroyed our monetary system back in the early 1900s. That's why the Fed was allowed, because Woodrow Wilson, not only did he sign the Federal Reserve Act, he made the Grand Canyon the second national park. So you can't go in the Grand Canyon and take anything out. You're not allowed. You get shot. There you go.
We the people's land,
So if we go back there, when we need to go back to a gold standard, and Ruta gets her way and gets to distribute the colored flowers throughout the land, voila. And
so I have a question for you, because you always say there will not be deciders. But in the comic book and on the road to Ruta decides.
She doesn't.
You don't think
what she does, and this is what is told in, well, yes, she does, but that's why they gave the teacher's guide. So if you read in the comic, Ruta decides based on Social Security balances.
Merit.
No, more.
No?
Yeah, well, kind of.
Kind of.
The way I read it is that the way it will be done according to the Constitution, you give everybody something, the same amount of something, and then those who have worked the hardest and longest, usually the older people, that have a bigger Social Security balance, would get more than someone who's just starting out in the workforce. And they'll, over time, they'll earn that money, and the older people will spend it or hand it down, right? And that's what was done in the Road to Ruta comic. But the teacher's guide says, what if the people don't accept it? And throws out like 60, 70 questions, unanswered questions that everybody's asking today. All the crypto people are saying, what will be, everybody with the Nestor and the Gestra and the quantum financial system. It's like all that stuff takes deciders. And this is what I always come back to. There can be no deciders because there will be no one who has the standing on the earth that has that kind of power. It will be nobody from, obviously, because their system failed. The BIS.
So either humanity will choose it.
Yeah.
All of
There'd be no
humanity has
bankers.
to choose it.
Bankers would be lucky to survive, much less be the deciders of the future system. It won't be the sad treasury. It won't be Trump. It won't be anybody because no one would agree to it. So if you have nobody agreeing to it, you either have nothing or you have the one thing that we do as a country have in the books that says what our monetary is, and that's the Constitution, which says gold and silver, and that's it. So cryptos, I think absolutely cryptos can be used by the individuals. I don't think government should be in cryptos at all. I think the whole Trump thing and getting into cryptos is to get the pedo cabal out of cryptos.
To expose.
No doubt he's going to crash the crap out of it, or just come up, hey, here's Reggie Middleton's patent, we're going to enforce it. And voila, you've destroyed 95% of the, and Reggie doesn't want to destroy anything, but he wants to get paid for what he did, which he deserves it.
Yeah.
And all the crypto people are freaking clueless about that at all. They have no idea.
And yet, how many of them do you think have pay a Microsoft fee every year? To
all of them.
Or
an iPhone. You pay a fee to the inventor of all kinds of things in this iPhone.
There's thousands of patents in your iPhone. Yeah, that you pay to use. Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of crying everywhere in crypto, but at the same time, it's not going to kill crypto. I mean, if it's truly decentralized, it doesn't matter because there's no one to go after.
The good ones, yeah.
To compensate Reggie for what he did, and I think the government owes a hell of a lot to him and humanity because he was ready to implement it at the Jamaican Stock Exchange.
Yeah,
it was like weeks before the implementation. The SEC took Reggie down like no other crypto person on the planet,
and went to another country, another government, and interceded in a business dealing. Yeah,
and Reggie invited them in because the SEC was saying, "Oh, if you got to be legit, you got to work with us." So Reggie did. He was completely above board, and then you got the criminals. I think what hurt Reggie the most is when he went on CNBC and says, "Well, this will take the place of like J.P. Morgan or Goldman Sachs," and it would, and it will in the future. But I think that's great stuff, and it's great innovation. I don't think it's the money of the United States of America. I don't think cryptos will be. They'll be used as an asset of value, and
it's a bartering system. It's a system of it's trustless trade. It's not the value itself.
Well, we're seeing that now because everything's down the shitter.
Wow.
It's not, but remember what happened in the bubbles when in the crypto bubbles, the crypto booms. It was always the Bitcoin people using the value of Bitcoin to buy other cryptos, and that's how the boom happened. That's why everything kind of rises and falls with Bitcoin. Is the people
but now
buying?
That's being exposed with the Epstein files of the manipulation with Bitcoin and all the fights and all that.
Yeah, I didn't know Epstein was that deep into it, but I knew that Bitcoin was knee deep into the pedo stuff.
Yeah,
as we both know, and we've talked about this since the invention of Bitcoin. But also at MIT, where Caroline Ellison's father runs the department that Gary Gensler did his MIT, crypto thing with. Carolyn Ellison was FTX. Her and Sam Bankman-Fried were the ones at FTX, which is they were massively into the pedo stuff. I mean, his little his emblem by his name was always that pedo circle.
Really?
Yeah. And he wore those shirts with the pedos. I mean, the whole thing is so slimy and
put it in your face. Yeah.
Criminal. And I think that's why I have no doubt that Trump is going to just destroy the crypto markets. And it'll come back. Crypto's been destroyed many times, and it always rises from the burning ashes. But the whole thing with him starting his new coins and all that stuff, and then allowing the approval of Reggie's patent. And that could be the pin that pricks the crypto bubble. Because a lot of the DeFi stuff, all of the DeFi stuff is in violation of Reggie's patent.
Well, any transfer of value over a digital secondary layer, that is in violation of his patents. Yeah. And that could include knowledge, because that has value. I mean, it could go much further.
But you can, and that's going to be the question. And Reggie should have a say in it, I think. But, what will the future monetary system of the United States look like if we are going to use cryptos in the CBDC? I mean, the CBDC obviously is in violation of the patent. How will Reggie be compensated? And what would that do to the current Veritasium tokens that are there's a little over 2 million circulating of the 100 million? Because there's no relation to the Veritasium token and Reggie's patent. Reggie's patent is Reggie's patent.
Yeah.
Now it might be owned. They tried to get it owned by Veritasium Corporation and then take Veritasium Corporation. All this shit. I don't know how that'll all work out.
Yeah.
But Reggie did sell. If Reggie's going to enforce his patent, he did sell the ICO tokens as prepaid software to everybody who bought them. So anybody who has a Veritasium token now should have at least. And Reggie has said he's going to help those people who tried to help him, like the very DAO people and all that, by offering discounts to the current Veritasium tokens. But
there are projects underway as we speak. In fact, I have a meeting with someone later today about it. Yeah.
What's unclear is what will they be worth? Not as far as dollar wise, but if you have access to the Reggie Middleton patent, which he was selling access to the patent through the Veritasium tokens. If you own some of that access, what kind of access do you have? And how much Veritasium, like if you're Coinbase, who Reggie
figure that out with Reggie.
Well, yeah, it's up to Reggie to determine what the value of the patent is.
Yeah.
Someone's at the door. Hold on one second.
Okay.
So
No worries.
I feel like I shouldn't mute just in case you guys hear gunshots and call the police.
Okay.
Yeah. Jenny's pulled out her gun. That's why.
She needs a big dog.
She does. She's got a cat.
Yeah. Oh, Luna. That's her daughter, I guess. The cat was. She named the cat after my husband, I think.
Yeah, Charlie.
Charles.
What's she
Charles
called?
Davis. Yes.
Yeah. It's his when Charlie's in trouble name from Lisa.
Yeah.
Charles. What is it? Charles
Davis.
No, didn't you say his middle name too? Or
no,
just Charles Davis.
It was Charles Davis. When we were on the bus, and I can't remember, and
we almost died.
Yeah, the time we almost died, and I was going Charles Davis, and Jenny thought that was so funny. I don't know why.
Did Josh tell you what? I was sitting next to Josh. So
yes, I was there.
I'm like,
I watched, and you were like, something's gonna happen, and you grabbed Josh's hand.
Hang on to my arm. Pray for our people in this car. And it was the weirdest thing I've ever felt in my life. And all of a sudden, this car pulls out in front of our van, and the whole thing just screeches. Everybody falls forward. We could have died.
We could have quite easily, but our work here is not done. So
our work here is not done. And I don't want to leave people with the when I said our end will be, in the end we'll all be destroyed. It's not a bad thing. The end could be 10,000 years into the future. I just think at the end of the day, if we create something that can destroy humanity, we'll at some point use it.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity because we've created something to free humanity, though, as well. Like there's the counter argument, and that's an alternative. It's not a coincidence that Bitcoin was released, right after the 2008, what should have been the crash that now we've seen kicked down the road. And we have all suffered the consequences of it. And, one day we'll realize how ridiculous it is to pay, $40 for a steak or whatever. So,
yeah, but we did. I mean, we had the tools already. We had gold and silver. We just chose not to.
We didn't use them.
Well, we've tried to use them over and over, and they failed every time. And the reason they fail is not because of anything related to gold or anything related to silver. It fails because humans are put in charge.
And the paper manipulation, right?
Yeah. Well, not necessarily. Now it's paper. That's the latest. But you go back to like the Greeks, and it was coin clipping, putting less and less silver in each coin type of thing, or snipping off little bits of it, or shavings of it, and making the, adding copper to it, shit like that. So yes, the gold standard has failed every time it's been implemented, but it has always returned to the gold standard. Now we have cryptos, so it gives us two choices, which is great. It's great to have two choices as the time approaches when the failure of this is the first time we've ever had a global unbacked fiat system that's going to fail. There's been failures like in Germany and Zimbabwe and all that. There's been failures. Who invited the bear in here? There's been failures.
I think she's wearing that as a little memory because last year, this time around her birthday, we were in Canada and she got to wear her big fuzzy coat, which you don't get to wear in Florida that often, I'm sure.
It was one of my ex-husbands just showed up.
Oh.
Just to say hi?
No, so he's dropping off the dog cage because they're going on vacation, and so I completely forgot that I'm pet sitting for like the next 10 days. So it's funny, like she needs a dog. Well, I will be looking after a dog for the next.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
From my mouth to the universe to you.
Yeah, I mean, there we have it. She's like the sweetest, most dainty, like runt of a golden retriever. So she's not exactly tough, but it'll be fun. It'll just be us girls. Nice. How many ex-husbands do I have? I'm looking for more. Would you like to join the roster? I'm very expensive though.
Oh, no. It's an application fee. I will tell you.
Here goes the comment section. It starts it just goes crazy. But back on track. So we've talked about silver. We've talked about veritasium quite a bit, which I think is going to be a monster.
Theta.
Let's talk a little about Theta and Theta Fuel and T-Drop and what Theta is doing. Yeah, when I was in the last couple of days, when I was discovering all this stuff about AI, thinking, well, if it stays on this track, they'll need 800 million ounces this year for AI because it's up 75%, right? So it's not going to happen. So all this AI thing is just going to come to a complete halt. The data center build out has to come to a complete halt because they don't have the silver. So then if it comes to a complete halt, what do? It's kind of like the same if China goes to war with Taiwan. That would stop the flow of semiconductors. For AI, there's only one option.
Theta. It's the only blockchain sustainable for that amount of data and the need for sharing.
Yeah. That's exactly what the Theta software does. It shares the hard drive, it shares the processing power, and it shares broadband. So all these hard drives that are going in, the processing power with the NVIDIA chips and all that stuff that's going in, when you look at the vast expanse of all computer equipment around the world and say, what if we shared the available capacity? That is just so much bigger than what's going on with AI right now.
Well, and isn't that an opportunity for like a UBI for we the people?
Yes.
If then what you're not using, you're contributing to the data center AI, whatever.
Yeah.
So you would
And you're
be
getting paid for it.
compensated for that because that's proof of work.
And that is exactly what Dick Allgaier and Hitomi saw when they remote viewed Theta. Now, I think Theta, they just did another remote viewing on Theta that they said, oh, no, it's like a stable coin. It's acting like a stable coin. I think that is true for Theta. I don't think it's true for T-Fuel. Because the whole thing about sharing capacity in AI, that's all about T-Fuel. Theta is the governance token for the Theta blockchain, which is important.
Like the patents, the permission, all of that. They'd have to have a subscription, but then to use, you need the Theta fuel as gas.
Well, to use any of the AI stuff, it runs off Theta fuel. And to run any of it, like if people want to run the Theta edge node on their phones all around the world, which is what they saw, you will earn T-Fuel on your phone. You earn Theta. So people would be using Theta fuel as the UBI, not Theta.
Okay. Interesting.
Can I say something about Theta?
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, someone said something about me expecting gunshots when my exes, one of my exes show up. Like that. Okay. I didn't know that it was my ex. There was just somebody at my door. I didn't know that he was going to come back.
Right.
So
you don't have to defend every ignorant comment.
Well, I just want to say, I don't
the nice ones.
Yeah. I don't want people thinking I'm like out here, like dealing with like evil ex-husbands. Like that's
no.
So,
you're watching their dog, for God's sake. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Okay, so a couple of things, because I see a lot of people asking about the trajectory of Theta. Now, I know that there is a significant distinction between Theta and T-Fuel, so I'm just going to ask you guys to take these messages as they resonate for you. So we've got sorry, the comments are distracting as people say things that I want to like.
You can make your screen.
No, I have it up for
bigger, and then
I have it up for a reason. Let's stick to anything. This isn't, if you want to like talk about what you want to talk about, get your own show, do your own show, get your own guests on, put the work in, carve out time during the day, do your research, talk.
Merit.
I'm really not like, I'm not into it. Anyways. So,
stop reading the comments.
I'm going to actually, well, now I can't. So let's see. So, okay. So now we have the strength, which is number 11. Remember, this is the trajectory and performance of Theta and T-Fuel. And we have the Emperor, which we actually really like. And we have the Three of Cups, which is a card of abundance. So what I anticipate, and this has come up a lot before, but this is basically a kind of, I don't want to call it a centralization, okay, because it's not that it's centralized, but imagine it becomes utilized almost as if it's like, because the Emperor is a lot about authority. It's when it's given a type of authority, it's given a jurisdiction, and that there are specifically and namely the Three of Cups. These are three entities that work together. I just want you guys to see it because there's three. Let
me see. Hold on. There
are three overflowing cups, and they do have a lot to do with I win, you win, we all win. So this is a symbiotic ecosystem where three very powerful things work together to create an abundant result. Okay. And then also, we all know the song that Bix wrote for Theta. And so this is kind of like, try to imagine that archetypal, when Theta first came out, she really presented herself as like a feminine energy in the cards, almost like a young, very bold, wanting to prove herself. It was that kind of energy. This is a graduation. This is almost like an upgrade. This is a maturing of that archetype where she now commands a lot of control. And something else I'd like to make note of is that a theme here is that Theta has some kind of ability to rein things in. So it takes multiple operations or multiple systems, and it seems to consolidate them and like put them on a leash, if you will. So there's nothing like, it's nothing about slavery, right? It's more just like power, and where you're putting your power is very defined. It's regimented, and there's really no outside, like, so it kind of looks like this is something that will eventually be utilized by, the emperor, which is, these are this is a very powerful authoritative force. So
you just described what the Theta edge node is. It takes all the different computers from all over the place and puts it centrally so that it can be used by AI or whoever's using the system. That's exactly what you described. But at the end, when you said it'll be like approved type by some big players to say, yeah, that's the one. Their partners have not done anything to promote Theta, or one of the reasons is they already do that type of work on a centralized basis. This is Google and Microsoft, and now they're working with all the telephone companies. So Verizon and they're just signing contracts with everybody, and then all it takes is one of them. If Google said, for example, we can't afford to build out AI anymore because there's no more silver left on the planet, or we have no computer chips because China just invaded Taiwan, those two things would make AI build out, that is the largest expenditure of large corporations in the world right now, stop instantly. If they have $5,000 silver, they're not going to make these plants. So what is the only opportunity outside of that is to say, for Google to stand up and say, hey, everybody download this app. For Samsung actually to, on their next, they can touch every single one of their TVs, and Elon could put it on. Data is a software download, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, and Starlink is complete now.
It can be on every device on the planet. If people said, "Oh my God, my brother Joe just downloaded the Theta Edge node, and now he's earning T-Fuel. I need to do that."
Would that be
money because AI took my job?
Could that be in conjunction with the X money that's coming out next month for everyone?
I don't know what the X money is. Is that Elon? Is
Twitter,
it crypto or
Twitter money? I don't know if it's crypto or not. I don't know. They're supposed to launch it for everyone next month, but they did have tipping previously on X as an option, and then I guess they took it off or only have it for certain people. Yeah. And the fact that Trump says no tax on tips, and if that becomes the new way to transact, but they would still need the Theta bandwidth to do all the sharing for any transactions. Yeah. So maybe that's the third thing. When Jenny said there's three things working together, I was thinking either it's Reggie's patent, Theta, and the AI, or the TFU.
I think the three things are probably more like Google, Samsung, and AT&T, or like the three. Like right now, all this work is being done by Google and Microsoft. They're building out these huge AI data centers. And the telecom companies are starting to feel left out. So if you can, because the sales pitch by Theta Labs is to go to the telecom company and say, hey, we already signed up Verizon and Deutsche Telekom and these. If you don't do it, you're going to miss out on AI. And nobody wants to miss out on AI.
Yeah, Jenny, tell us what you think.
So I'm going to get to a timeline on Theta and T-Fuel, okay? Skullcap had a really, really great question, so I asked the cards. Vix, you might find this interesting too. So he asked specifically, can you ask the cards if there are now already companies like Google who are using their Theta stockpiles in private environments to stake and train proprietary AI bots? And I think that's a really fascinating question. So we have the Princess of Discs, the Hermit, the Fool, and the Ace of Pentacles. So all across the board, these are yeses. And they definitely speak to that sort of prototype, like sort of trial and error phase of it. However, I think it's really successful because the Ace of Pentacles tells me they have the bones of this completely like solid. They just had to check like, you know, they're building up from the ground up. But I also know that this is done in secrecy because of the presence of the Hermit and our Fool card, which, as we discussed earlier, especially here in this context, it's reversed, which tells me these are things that are hidden from sight. They're done underground. They're done hidden. I don't mean literally underground in this case, right? These are things that are done behind the scenes. They're not being promoted, which would really, listen, if this is true, this will answer a lot of questions that we've had about Theta and T-Fuel, namely Theta Labs and their marketing. And like, why, after, you know, over the course of all these years, why has this amazing technology with all of this, you know, potent capability has just suffered from some of the most piss poor marketing strategy and like commercialization that I've ever seen, and when it could have been so much better. I think that was a combination of a bunch of different things that were going on at Theta Labs. However, it makes sense to me now in hindsight why so much of it had to be hidden, because they were, you know, this is like Ace of Pentacles.
It wasn't really hidden though. I mean, Google is one of the validators, and their name's up on the board as one of the 27 or how many validators they have. Google has announced things with Theta together. As far as
they've been suppressed,
nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, no, yeah, they haven't. I mean, imagine this, and this is what I think is going to happen at some point. Imagine Google, Samsung, Sony, Microsoft, Apple all get to have a press release one day after the AI hits a bump. Either they can't make any expand it or the invasion of Taiwan, and they all get together and say, hey, you know, we've been doing this work, but it doesn't have to stop. We're partners. We're all partners with Theta Labs, and we're asking to download software on everybody's devices to share your internal stuff. Now, if that does happen, and I've run this through all kinds of AI what ifs, it will be Theta Fuel that takes the brunt of the upside, because Theta is not involved in the AI stuff, other than approving transactions. But Theta Fuel would have to be, if you download to share, you'd have to download that app onto, like, Samsung could do it tomorrow if they wanted. Oh, we have an update for your TV. The next time you've seen those on your TV is, oh, you got to update the new software. And usually it's done behind the scenes. They can literally dump it onto 5-10 billion assets, 10 billion computers running the Theta network, and instantly have this massive network. Now, could the technology handle it? I don't know. You know, how it's kind of all segregated into each unit. Each unit can handle it, but can the way the AI systems work, can they bring all this capability together? I mean, they're pretty smart dudes, and they haven't had any problem before. You know, the problem is not enough people, much less, but can you go to the billions of devices? I don't know.
There would have to be a necessary event, right, to force people to have a need for the tool, something like a Carrington event,
well,
something like that. Then they transition to this.
We're already seeing the big AI investors saying, "Oh shit, maybe we shouldn't have put so much money into AI." Microsoft has announced that they're not going to build any more AI data centers, but other people are, and a lot of times in banking, those bankers will get excited about a sound idea, but not think about the time frame. You know, when is it going to pay off? I mean, AI is not paying off right now as far as the people who are running it. You know, it's all about the future. Well, in the future, but like Elon's Grok isn't paying off right now with all the money they're spending. And none of the AIs are paying off yet. But they think it will. If you build it, they will come, type of thing. But if it does start to back up, and then anybody of their big partners says, "Hey, Theta Labs has a way around the shortfalls of AI," because everybody's moving into AI, and you're starting to see times when the AI says, "It's too busy. I can't deal with this information right now." Well,
and that's what Reggie said. It would be the bottleneck of information, not the output or the input, but the bottleneck, and that's where Theta really shines.
Yeah, I think. But
Jenny, what do you think?
So Ben had a question about, and I just want to scroll back up because his verbiage was important.
Okay.
Sorry, something about whether or not Theta has signed off.
Oh, okay.
Officially signed off. Okay, he says, I'd like to know if Theta has actually signed off on the tokens being used like that, or if it will remain in current architecture. And like that, we're talking about it being used basically like behind the scenes, like they're training it and whatnot. To which I got yeses. I have the Ace of Swords, which is a yes. It was all signed off on and like planned. And, I mean, I imagine something like this needs to be absolutely perfected. Especially if it's meant to be introduced in a very big way during some kind of high tension, high stress situation. So that's I don't think we've seen Theta shine yet. I just don't. I think that there's a reason that we've been on the case, on the trail since the beginning. There's a reason that White Dove had something to say about it back in the day. So that's why I've always felt good about Theta. And I mean, here's the thing, like back in 2016 when all this stuff came out, a lot of us thought it was just going to be 2 to 3 years before it came out, and that was a full decade ago. So I think things just take time to develop and make their rounds. And but it just looks like Theta is being groomed, if you will, for a leadership position in the new world stage. And I was not new world order, just world stage.
It's definitely got the vibe of and most cryptos do, after the crash, after the ugliness of the fiat system imploding, the derivative bubble. It could be triggered by anything coming out about Epstein and JP Morgan Chase. I've been screaming this. Jenny told me years ago, silver will not be freed until the pedophile situation is dealt with. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You have no idea what you're talking. This is like 3-4 years ago. And there was no connection. And now the connection's obvious. The number one rigger on the planet of silver is JP Morgan, and they were in business partners with Jeffrey Epstein, not just as a bank, but partnerships and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, I agree with that now.
Well, and we're watching we're watching the cartels being taken down and their networks dismantled, which are part of the trafficking. Because you can sell a drug one time, but you could sell a child many times over. Or a woman.
Yeah.
Or boys, they traffic boys too.
Yeah.
Children. Oh, absolutely.
That's like a huge market there. So I'm being asked to provide a timeline for Theta here. Now you guys know how I feel, but since it's a party
it's a party.
I didn't even bring it up because I know you hate the timeline thing.
Tell us when.
Stand it. I can't stand it. It's the bane of my career. But it is what it is. I got to give the people what they want.
Go for it.
There you go.
So it's just mind-numbing. To me, it's just mind-numbing because I'm like, oh my God. So anyways, we have the Hierophant, was number 5. Okay, we have the Moon. So our 2 major arcana that are coming up, which is the most indicative of timelines. This does put us in the fall and winter months. What year? It's 2026, Jenny. This is the year. I don't know. Give me a break, okay? But I can tell you that it appears after what looks like a 3. So we have 3, 6, and 9. All right, which actually speaks more to symmetry within the system. It speaks more to a nice, when things are in nice working order. But they need this 3, 6, and 9 period of absolute It's kind of like when you make a pilot fly a million times before you give them, a commercial airliner, or before you give them a $17 million aircraft, so we're looking at, a period of time of testing this out to make sure it's absolutely bulletproof. And then I do anticipate some kind of I want to say this puts us around September and October. September, October, November, this 3-month window. Either, I'm not going to say it's this year because that's just too utopian, pie in the sky, but possibly 2027, because this gives me seasons. It doesn't say, if only it was that easy.
I know.
Come on, you know what I mean? There's a reason. There's a reason why there are these degrees of separation between human beings.
Well, and there's free will involved, right?
Well, yeah, and that's it too. When people are like, shouldn't you be all of these, doing all these things? I'm like, I don't use the cards for certain purposes that other people, maybe either they would use the cards for those purposes for themselves, or people assume I'm looking up lottery numbers and stuff. And it's just not like that. And the cards really, they have a way of smacking you. They have a way of kind of hitting you on the hand if you ask questions you're really not supposed to ask. Not that timelines are, forbidden to ask, but it changes so much that I just, in good conscience, I'm like, I don't know that I need to be out here telling people about this date or that date. I've been in this game long enough to know that can totally blow up in your face. And I don't want to do more harm than help. You guys understand.
I get it. I know you don't like those, so I didn't even bring it up. But
okay, I'm gonna do it.
It's great. Well, and before we exit, I want to ask you one personal timeline thing of mine.
Yeah, sure.
When do you see us breaking ground and starting to build the Davis Little Patch of Heaven?
So we have the strength card come out. So this is number 11, but this puts us in the summer months. Okay. So this is like an August energy right here.
Or June.
Warmth. Or June. You can be, this is.
Are you doing your own reading, Lisa?
Yeah. I'm just putting wishful energy and positive manifestation.
Absolutely. Let's all sprinkle some fairy dust on that timeline so that Lisa can build her dream structure.
Yes, my little patch of heaven. That's what we're working on. All right. Did we hit all the hot topics?
Oh, we did lots of them.
Did we dish the tea? Yeah.
I think we should have Bix over for tea time more often.
Anytime you guys need me, I'm there.
Oh, we love you.
We do love you.
Happy anniversary to you soon, Bix and Amy, and happy birthday to Amy, and happy birthday to Jenny.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you. Full year
So 21 again. Good job.
That's right. And if you want to support Jenny and find her work, she does live. Well, no, they're recorded now, but you have an opportunity to ask questions if you become one of her Patreon members, and then she'll do a reading and a video and put it out, and she spends a lot of time and effort on that. And so it's a great way you can support her work. You can support Bix Weir by going to the Road to Ruta and gaining lots and lots of knowledge by becoming a private road member, and reading the just infinite amount of documents and books and things that he's invested in, put money and time and his energy into to try to explain all of this to us as we go through this financial collapse and transition to the new bright future. So definitely go to roadtoruta.com and you can support my work. Links below. Join me on Patreon as well. Much love to everyone.
I don't know how to do that. There you go.
You did a good job. No, this is better than mine. Oh!
Whoa! Wow, you're so tech savvy.
That's a new one for me.
Wait.
Did you just do it?
Is this doing it automatically?
It's not working for me.
There it goes. I don't know.
Oh my god! I have to figure out how to do that.
I don't know. Somebody knows how.
Magic.
Yeah. a little universe magic. All right. Well, I love you guys to
All
death.
right, love you too. Thank you, everybody. Thank you all for being here and your questions and your birthday wishes and your good vibes. And
Yes.
Get excited about the 4th of July.
Yes. And that's Bix's birthday. That's right.
And it's my birthday.
So we'll see you guys next time for the tea.
Hey, Jenny,
Hi.
what's new in the silver market? Hey, Lisa, it's wild. Crypto's even crazier.